WNYC's Jessica Gould visited the gambling town where people are bracing for what comes next.
Ducking in and out of casinos on a Saturday night, I can still hear those typical Atlantic City sounds. Mauricio, that's a cool name. Bachelorettes flirting with bartenders, gray-haired gamblers playing the slots. But these days, a lot of people also sound like this.
We're trying to right now figure out how we're going to survive here in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
For years, this was the place to gamble on the East Coast. Then, sleek new casinos opened up in neighboring states, and Atlantic City, the town that inspired a board game, lost its monopoly. And that set off a fiscal crisis that's touched everyone here. 4 casinos closed last year, and another is teetering on the edge. Thousands of people have lost their jobs.
My name is Blaine Stowe, and I live this. I have seen this city go up a little with the casinos and come down to nothing but poverty since they've been closing up.
I meet Stowe at the public library, where she's sifting through stacks of old resumes and using the computers to type up new ones. She says she's worked at casinos in the convention center, but she's been out of a job for 7 months. Librarian Heather Perez says she sees people like Stowe every day.
We have a lot of people that need help learning to use the computers, and we have a lot of people that want advice on how to do a resume.
Perez oversees the library's archives, an original block of Boardwalk, a bottle of booze from Prohibition, Miss America photos, and most recently,
A casino chip from the Rebel Casino, which has since closed.
Perez says Atlantic City's history is full of these ups and downs.
And there's always another tomorrow for Atlantic City.
Just not always for the library. For the first time in years, it's closing on Sundays because of budget cuts.
Municipal library funding is based on our property values, and of course with the casinos closing, the property values have fallen in Atlantic City, and so our budget has fallen.
These are the stakes in a one-industry town. When the casinos were flush, so was the city. As casino profits declined, so did tax revenue to pay for city services. To make matters worse, the city kept taxing and spending at high rates. Now it's swimming in debt. The bondholders, the state, and even the casinos who sued the city for overtaxing them and won refunds. There are big bills coming due this month, and the state, which has helped out before, may not this time because it's got big budget problems of its own. If Atlantic City can't find the cash, it could go bankrupt.
I'm totally against it.
Meet Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian.
It's okay if I was running a business, screw everybody. Let's go. Don't pay them. Don't pay your bills, don't pay your debtors. That's the way business operates. That's not how you run a city.
It's not really up to him, though. In New Jersey, the state is in charge of whether cities can file for bankruptcy. Doing that gives the cities more time to pay their bills and more flexibility to reduce spending, often by paying bondholders less and cutting workers' pensions. But bankruptcy is expensive, and it can make it harder to borrow money and maintain services. Think of Detroit with its blighted blocks and broken streetlights. Guardian says he's trying to avoid as much of that as he can. Since taking office just over a year ago, he's slashed the budget by $30 million, frozen workers' wages, and reduced their ranks through attrition. He says layoffs are coming.
Because my commitment is finding the least expensive way to provide people with better services.
Guardian's also trying to diversify the city's economy and boost its tax base. As we walk along the boardwalk,
How are you guys? Hey, how are you? Hello, Joe.
he breathlessly lists off new projects. The hunting and fishing superstore Bass Pro is opening an outpost. Stockton University is transforming a casino into a new campus and dorm. More retail and restaurants.
We're saying we want to have gaming as just one of the options for entertainment, but dining and shopping and clubbing should all be part of that.
The day I meet Guardian, he's optimistic. The hotels are booked, the casinos are busy, and lots of people are out and about. He says the city will find a way to pay its bills, and there's new legislation in the State House to help get its finances in order. In January, he said, at least we're not Detroit. A week later, Governor Christie appointed 2 lawyers to review the situation and come up with suggestions. Both have experience in bankruptcies. One of them oversaw the process in Detroit. For WNYC, I'm Jessica Gould.
Staying in New Jersey, the undefeated Princeton University women's basketball team plays its first game in the NCAA tournament tomorrow. The team went 30-0, finishing the season atop the Ivy League Conference, which was also particularly strong this year. But as New Jersey Public Radio's Sarah Gonzalez reports, the Lady Tigers still face doubts about whether they can compete for a national title.
The only other Ivy League college basketball team to go undefeated ever was the University of Pennsylvania. That was in 1970, and it was the men's team. The Princeton women beat their record, playing and winning 2 more games than Penn.
The clock hits triple zeros, and it is wire-to-wire perfection, 30-0, and an Ivy League title for the Princeton Tigers.
They ended their perfect season with a win over their arch rival, the Penn women.
Someday, later in life, with kids, with grandkids, we're going to haul out this DVD, or whatever it is we use to project images 20 or 30 years from now. We'll probably be able to do it from our own minds.
All right, game over. Let's go. And then all these reporters are in our face like, you just made history. Tell us, do something. And we're just like, I don't know what you want. I have a thesis and a midterm to get to.
Mariah Smith is one of the captains. She's a forward. She's been on the team all 4 years and is graduating with a degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering with a certificate in robotics and intelligent systems. She's in the middle of job interviews and her thesis, building a small robotic arm that can pick up a grain of sand. She says her coach understands that academic success at Princeton is the priority.
She said on ESPN she's coaching future CEOs, and so that's awesome, and that really inspires all of us each and every day.
Head coach Courtney Banghart played at an Ivy herself, Dartmouth. She was a great shooter, graduated with a degree in neuroscience. The 36-year-old has an all-female coaching staff and a hand-picked basketball team.
These are heavily recruited Division I athletes. It's finally starting to sink in just how amazingly, uniquely, crazy, ridiculously amazing, awesome this undefeated streak is.
Banghart faces a challenge that every other Division I school doesn't. She can't offer players full athletic scholarships. The 8 schools that make up the Ivy League can only offer scholarships based on need or academics. Banghart says some of her players walked away from a free ride at top-ranked programs to attend Princeton.
And so these are very high major players that have turned down money for their future.
Only 64 teams go into the NCAA tournament out of the 340-plus Division I teams in the country. Under Banghart, Princeton women have made it into the tournament for 5 of the last 6 years, but they have yet to win a game there. At their first practice since their undefeated season, players in black and orange jerseys and a basketball in each hand dribbled down the court. They dribbled low, then high, threw their legs, and shot a layup. Banghart says they're solid on both sides of the ball.
Defensively, we're elite. We play with toughness, we're accountable, we can guard the ball, we have good rotations, we rebound the ball well. And then on the offensive end, we've got a really dynamic, versatile attack. We've got kids that are good in all different places on the floor.
But there's no star factor on this particular team. No standout player. Mel Greenberg blogs about women's college basketball. He says this year's set of teams is probably the best year the Ivy League has ever seen. But Princeton also didn't play any top-ranked programs in the regular season.
But of course, because of the way Princeton is dominated, Princeton has looked like the Connecticut of the Ivy League.
Connecticut is the #1 seed. Princeton is seeded 8th. They'll have 1 game to prove whether they can compete with the top women's college basketball teams in the nation. Only one Ivy League women's team has won a single game in the NCAA tournament. Harvard in 1998. For WNYC, I'm Sarah Gonzalez.
And the Lady Tigers play the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay at the University of Maryland tomorrow morning. WNYC's data news team has made a Twitter bot that tweets about close games. Follow the Nailbiter bot on Twitter or head over to WNYC.org. We do have weather advice